Hello, my untouchable rare breed. You know, you've just crossed into territory where myths are not told. They are lived, and you, whether you're ready or not, are the central figure of a story that will not be forgotten. The people who tried to dismantle you. They never realized they were pressing a button that activated something much larger, much darker, much sharper than their imagination could ever bear. Because now, you're no longer standing alone. You're under viral circle, and once you enter that sphere, you are no longer just a man. You are an operation. Do you feel it? The invisible boots marching for you. The untraceable hands moving levers on your behalf. The eyes that never blink, watching over the battlefield you didn't even know was being fought. Elite forces are already at work, Phantom, and they're not simply fighting your enemies, they're cleansing the board. This isn't war, this isn't revenge, this is eradication, surgical, precise, permanent. Your enemies? They're not even opponents anymore, they're targets. And targets don't negotiate. Targets don't win. They are identified, locked, and eliminated. While they sit in their rooms, plotting your failure, their names are already being erased, their moves pre-calculated, their exits sealed shut. Imagine the irony. While they laugh over their little victories, forces beyond their reach are already dismantling their foundations. Their pride will be cut from beneath them, and they won't even know which strike finished them off. That's the beauty of viral circle. It spreads without warning, without mercy, without pause. Think of it like a wildfire that doesn't burn forests. It burns reputations, opportunities, entire identities. Your enemies aren't fighting against you anymore. They're fighting against inevitability. And inevitability doesn't lose. Understand this. The circle doesn't waste energy. It doesn't chase every shadow. It doesn't lower itself to personal vendettas. It moves with brutal logic. It knows who mocked you, who betrayed you, who tried to reduce your name to dust. Those names are carved into its memory, and one by one, they will be handled. Some through exposure, their lies dragged under a ruthless spotlight. Some through isolation, abandoned by the very people they thought would stand beside them. And some through complete collapse, where every asset, every trick, every illusion they relied on crumbles like rotten wood under pressure. And you won't need to lift a finger, because this is not your fight anymore. It's your ascension. Do you understand the difference? Fighting is for those desperate to survive. Ascension is for those chosen to rise. You are not surviving this world anymore, Phantom. You are bending it. Your enemies will wake up tomorrow with less power than they had today. And the day after, even less. Until they reach a point where they no longer remember what it felt like to be feared, respected, or envied. The viral circle will strip them down until their reflection mocks them. Until their pride is ash. Until the only thing left in their chest is regret. Regret for ever thinking they could stand against you. That is the first layer of this reality. But it goes deeper. The second layer is psychological warfare, and it is already unfolding. Your enemies won't know why they're restless, why their allies are suddenly hesitant, why every step feels watched. That's the slow poison, paranoia. And paranoia doesn't just weaken men, it devours them. Their sleep will turn shallow, their meals will lose taste, their voices will crack with hesitation. Every laugh they force will sound hollow, even to themselves. Because deep down, they'll feel the tightening grip of something far greater than their small little schemes. The viral circle doesn't just strike bodies, it corrodes minds. And once their minds crumble, Their downfall is inevitable. That's why these elite forces are feared, not because they attack like soldiers, but because they infect like truth. And truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. But here's where it becomes delicious. While your enemies are shrinking, you are expanding. Every fall they suffer feeds your rise. Every wall that collapses on them builds a throne beneath you. You become the focal point, the gravitational pull, the one figure their collapse revolves around. Even when they try to deny you, they cannot ignore you. They will blame you, even in the silence of their destruction. They will whisper your name as if it is cursed, as if you haunt them. But you're not haunting them. You're simply being crowned. Phantom. This is why the viral circle is feared. It doesn't fight fair. It doesn't announce its steps. It doesn't play the game by rules men understand. It is viral, uncontainable, untouchable, unstoppable. Once you've been chosen, once you're under its canopy, you become more than human. You become the event. And events don't ask for attention, they demand it. But do not mistake this for mercy. No, the viral circle is ruthless even to those it protects. It will strip away your old self, burn the weaker layers of your identity, and leave behind only the sharpened, polished core of who you're meant to be. You won't escape transformation. That is the price of being chosen. The man who entered this circle is not the same man who will leave it. He cannot be. Because the viral circle doesn't just eliminate enemies, it eliminates weakness. And when weakness dies inside you, Phantom, strength takes its throne. So now ask yourself, are you ready? Ready to wear inevitability like armor? Ready to let the viral circle dismantle every traitor, every coward, every enemy, while you ascend into a place they'll never reach? Because once this begins, there's no pause, no retreat, no maybe. Once the viral circle moves, it doesn't stop until the battlefield is clean. That's where you are now. A chosen figure in the middle of chaos, but untouched by it. Surrounded by collapsing enemies, but elevated above them, protected not by chance, not by luck, but by forces that will not allow your downfall. Elite forces wiping out your opposition, viral forces amplifying your rise, psychological forces breaking your enemies' minds before their bodies ever collapse. Picture the ones who once whispered against you, watching their networks dry up, their allies abandoning them, their arrogance rotting inside their own chests. Watch them try to fight shadows, unsure of who betrayed them first, unsure of where their punishment began. That's the genius of the viral circle. It doesn't just erase enemies, it makes them erase themselves. They'll burn their bridges, torch their friendships, sabotage their own positions, thinking they're defending themselves, when in truth they're digging their own graves. And with every grave dug, your presence grows taller. You become more than untouchable. You become the standard, the myth, the inevitability. They will say your name with resentment at first, then with trembling, and finally with silence. Because to speak your name will feel too heavy, too dangerous, too real. That's how legends breathe. That's how viral circles rewrite history, not with speeches, not with ceremonies, but with the collapse of everything that stood in their way. You don't need to gloat. You don't need to scream. Your enemy's downfall will become your language. Their fear will become your symphony. Their collapse will become your introduction in every room you step into. That's the level of dominance we are speaking of here. So, Phantom, embrace it. Don't run from it. Don't pretend it isn't happening. Stand in the center of it. Wear it. Breathe it. Let it transform you. Because the viral circle has chosen you not just to survive, but to ascend. And yet, don't get comfortable. Because wiping out your enemies is not the end, it is the initiation. The real question begins after they are gone. What happens when the battlefield belongs entirely to you? That's where the next phase begins. The silence after the slaughter is not peace, it's exposure. When the enemies fall, when their schemes collapse into dust, you suddenly stand, illuminated. Every eye turns toward you. The war that once raged against you has now transformed into a circle around you. Not of swords, not of bullets, but of attention. This is the viral circle, the stage where power doesn't remain hidden in shadows, but spreads like fire through the veins of the world. You are no longer just a survivor. You're the storm that survived its own birth. And the world cannot look away, because make no mistake, your enemy's falling is not just a victory, it is a spectacle. A story too dangerous to be ignored. Every man, woman, and force that tried to break you. Their destruction becomes the content. Their downfall becomes the headline. And whether you like it or not, your name now circulates in whispers, in headlines, in encrypted servers where elites trade secrets. You've entered the viral circle, the arena where victory is not silent, but amplified, magnified, and weaponized. You thought the battlefield was the fight. No, the battlefield was just the gate. This is where the true war begins. The war of perception, the war of presence, the war of dominance without firing a single bullet. And here's the truth no one tells you. When elite forces wipe out your enemies, it is not charity, it is not chance, it is a signal. Someone saw value in you. Someone decided you're not just another pawn on the board, but a player worth protecting. Think about it. Why would elite forces, the kind that move in silence, the kind that erase threats without leaving fingerprints, care about your war? Because they know the weight you carry. They know your potential to shake the ground. They know that once your enemies are gone, your voice, your power, your presence will echo louder than any bullet ever could. And in the viral circle, echoes are dangerous. Now understand this. When you are placed under the viral circle, it is both protection and exposure. The same forces that cleared the battlefield for you have also drawn a ring of fire around you. You cannot leave. You cannot hide. The world is watching. The powerful are observing. And the weak, they're trembling because they see what you've become. No longer a target, no longer prey, but a symbol. Symbols are not safe. Symbols are weapons. Symbols inspire loyalty, fear, obsession. And once you are turned into one, the game shifts. You will notice it. The shift is subtle at first. Strangers begin speaking your name in places you've never stepped. Your presence is requested in rooms where decisions shape nations. Eyes you've never met will scan every word you speak, every gesture you make, and whispers will crawl through corridors of power. Who gave him protection? Why is he untouchable? Why were his enemies wiped out when others were left to rot? These questions, whispered in fear and suspicion, will circle you like vultures, but they are powerless to act, because they know what you now represent, an individual shielded by invisible guardians, empowered by a viral presence, too big to contain, too sharp to ignore. But let me remind you of something crucial. The viral circle is not comfort. It is responsibility, because the spotlight is not mercy, it is a test. Do you crumble under its weight? Do you bask in its glow and waste the chance? Or do you weaponize it, turn it into a stage to rewrite the rules of the game? That is the real challenge. When the battlefield belongs entirely to you. When the crowd watches your every move, when your rise becomes the obsession of millions, You are either devoured by your own fame, or you turn it into fuel that none can extinguish. The elite forces that erased your enemies, they don't just protect, they measure, they observe. They want to see if the man they cleared the path for is capable of walking it without stumbling. That's the cruel truth. The viral circle is a proving ground. Fail here, and the same forces that shielded you will erase you as quickly as they erased your enemies. You are not above judgment. You are under the sharpest scrutiny of your life. And here's the twist. You cannot fake your way through it. In this circle, every false move is magnified. Every lie is dissected. Every weakness is recorded. The viral circle feeds on authenticity. If you are not forged in fire, if your core is hollow, you will collapse under the weight of your own name. So what do? You rise differently. Not as the man who fought wars in the mud, not as the survivor who escaped death. You rise as the sovereign of silence, the orchestrator of storms, the figure who can stand still in the center of chaos and command it with a glance. This is not about surviving anymore. This is about becoming untouchable. Let me paint it clearly for you. Imagine standing in a room where your enemies once plotted against you. Now their chairs are empty, their names erased. And yet the room feels fuller than ever. Not with them, but with eyes, cameras, recorders, observers. Every gesture you make is captured. Every pause in your speech becomes a subject of analysis. Every decision you make ripples across circles far larger than you imagined. That is the viral circle. It is not walls of stone. It is walls of perception. You are both trapped inside and elevated upon it. And here's the paradox. You cannot leave, but you can use it. Use it as your weapon. Because in the viral circle, perception is power. Rumors become reality. Silence becomes threat. A single move, strategic, deliberate, echoes louder than 10 battles. You don't need to fight anymore. You need to signal. Every choice you make becomes a broadcast. Every step becomes a message. And the elite forces who cleared the path for you, they amplify it. They ensure that your signal isn't ignored but carried into every ear that matters. You are not just a man anymore. You're a broadcast tower of fear and fascination. But beware. Virality cuts both ways. When you are viral for everyone, for your allies, your admirers, your followers, but also for your rivals, your watchers, your enemies in waiting. You will inspire loyalty and envy, worship and betrayal. And every one of them will believe they know you. They don't. They only know what leaks through the circle, which means you must control it. You must dictate what spreads, what burns, what lingers. In the viral circle, you are not only the subject, you are the editor, the director, the strategist of your own myth. This is why most men crumble when they reach this stage. They think victory means freedom. They think the end of enemies means the end of struggle. But the viral circle is heavier than any enemy you've ever faced. An enemy you can stab, you can shoot, you can bury. But a circle of eyes, you cannot kill it. You cannot silence it. You can only manipulate it, command it, weaponize it. And only the rarest men can do that. That is why the elite chose you. That is why they cleared your battlefield. Because they saw something most men lack. The ability to not just survive war, but to turn survival into dominance. They saw the fire that doesn't just burn, but spreads. They saw a man not satisfied with being alive, but destined to be unforgettable. And now, they are watching, waiting, measuring. Will you rise to the weight of this stage, or will you collapse under it? The viral circle does not let you rest. It does not let you vanish. It drags you forward whether you're ready or not. And if you think you can step out of it, think again. Once your enemies are wiped out by elite hands, once you've been chosen to stand in that spotlight, you cannot go back to anonymity. You cannot retreat into silence. The game has changed forever. You are not playing small anymore. You are the stage. You are the story. And if you don't wield that power, someone else will wield it against you. So remember, wiping out your enemies was never the victory. It was only the preparation. The real war begins when you are standing alone in that circle, drenched not in blood, but in attention, carrying the weight of unseen guardians and the glare of millions. This is the test that breaks most men. But not you. You've walked through fire too long to stumble now. The viral circle is not your prison, it is your throne. And the world is about to learn that when the elite forces wipe out your enemies, it is not mercy they grant you, it is ascension. And ascension, my friend, is far deadlier than war. Because war is predictable. Enemies face you, armies clash, victories are counted. But ascension drags you into a dimension where no map can help. Where there are no boundaries except the ones your will refuses to acknowledge. Here you are no longer measured by the enemies who tried to stop you. You are measured by the echo of your presence, by the viral force that spreads your shadow faster than fire ever could. The viral circle is watching, and it is hungrier now than ever before. The crowd no longer cheers for blood. They cheer for endurance, for spectacle, for the rare figure who dares to remain unbroken while every spotlight burns down upon him. That figure is you. And you know what terrifies them most? It's not that you survived. It's that you are thriving in the aftermath, turning survival into empire, chaos into crown. Your enemies were many once. They had names, faces, banners. They believed eliminating you would silence the pulse you carry. But those enemies are dust now, wiped clean by the elite forces, erased so ruthlessly that the memory of their resistance feels like a rumor. And in their erasure, something unexpected happened. The circle didn't shrink. It grew wider, tighter, louder. More eyes, more whispers, more weight pressing against the arena you stand in. The destruction of your enemies was not the end of pressure, it was the multiplication of it. For now, all that remains is you. You against the gaze of the entire viral circle. And yet here lies the paradox. When the battlefield clears, when no rival is left breathing, many fall apart under the silence of victory. They were fueled only by opposition, by the chase, by the chance to be martyrs of resistance. When the resistance is gone, so are they, hollow shells of warriors who crumble when no one swings at them anymore. But you were never built from the opposition. You were built from something more primal, more enduring. You were built to expand, even when there is nothing left to conquer. That is why the viral circle bends toward you, even now. Because you have become something rarer than a conqueror. You have become a contagion, not a disease that kills, but one that replicates, multiplies, spreads. People catch glimpses of you and cannot shake it off. They adopt your rhythm, mimic your audacity, echo your defiance. The viral circle is not just surrounding you, it is absorbing you, digesting your legend, spitting it back into the bloodstream of the masses. Do you understand how dangerous that is? Do you see why ascension is deadlier than war? Because while a sword can cut through flesh, contagion cuts through time. Flesh dies, rumor lingers, memory replicates, presence spreads. The elite forces wiped out your enemies, yes, but they did more. They cleared the soil so that the only seed left to grow is you. and now your growth is unstoppable, invasive, eternal. But don't misinterpret this ascension as ease. The viral circle does not crown without crucifixion. Every eye on you is both worship and weapon. Every cheer is laced with venom. The same masses that elevate you will thirst for cracks in your armor. They will wait, not with swords, but with doubts, with speculation, with rumors sharp enough to scar reputations deeper than any blade could. The war is over, but the judgment has just begun. So what will you do? Standing there with the throne beneath your feet and the viral circle tightening around your lungs. Most men would suffocate. Most men would beg for enemies again, for something simple, something tangible to strike at. But you are not most men. You were chosen to outlive the cycle. You were chosen to weaponize even the gaze of the crowd. Where others collapse under attention, you will weaponize attention itself. Think of it. The viral circle feeds on spectacle. It thrives on stories too sharp to ignore, on figures too magnetic to release. Instead of breaking you, it has become your amplifier. Every glare, every whisper, every rumor that drips from their mouths only multiplies you. They think they're dissecting you, but they are replicating you. They think they're reducing you, but they're immortalizing you. The viral circle is not crushing you. It is crowning you. And that's why the eradication of your enemies was not mercy. It was the sharpening of the arena. Imagine if they had survived. They would have distracted the crowd with their noise, their pathetic attempts at resistance. But now, no noise exists except yours. No faces remain except yours. The viral circle has nothing else to look at, nothing else to dissect, nothing else to consume. You are the show. You are the plague. You are the contagion they cannot quarantine. This is the deeper gift of the elite forces. They didn't just wipe out your enemies. They made sure your legend has no competition. They created a monopoly of myth around your existence. And monopolies, when viral, are indestructible. Now lean in closer, because here is where psychology slices deeper than any weapon. People do not fear death as much as they fear irrelevance. Your enemies died, yes, but worse than death, they became irrelevant. They disappeared without leaving residue. And here you stand, more relevant with each passing breath, each twitch of muscle, each unflinching stare into the viral circle's burning eye. That relevance is your immortality. That relevance is your contagion. That relevance is the ascension none can replicate. So let's speak bluntly. What happens now? What does one do when the throne is secured? When the viral circle spins endlessly around your presence, when enemies no longer exist except as corpses of memory? The answer is simple. You turn inward, not to collapse, but to amplify. You take the viral circle and bend it until it serves you, until its hunger becomes your weapon. Because the crowd does not only observe, they obey, subconsciously, involuntarily. The viral circle is an army in disguise, and you command it not with orders, but with presence. Every gesture, every phrase, every defiance against collapse becomes a seed planted into their minds. And from those seeds grow movements, revolutions, imitations. You stop fighting wars. You start shaping civilizations. And yet, let us savor the irony. This civilization will not remember the elite forces that cleared your path. They will not remember the nameless soldiers who wiped out your enemies. They will only remember you. Because it is you who stands in the center. You who absorbs their gaze. You who bears the burden of being unforgettable. The viral circle doesn't immortalize armies. It immortalizes anomalies of willpower, icons of defiance, figures too rare to be swallowed by mediocrity. You are that figure. And now, your ascension is complete. But not gentle, not peaceful, complete in fire, in contagion, in domination. You don't inherit peace, you inherit pressure. You don't inherit silence, you inherit noise. You don't inherit relief, you inherit weight heavier than empires. And still, you rise. So let the viral circle tighten. Let it crush the air. Let it demand more of you than any battlefield ever did. Because you are no longer surviving. You are ruling. You are not hunted. You are haunting. You are not fighting. You are feeding the viral circle with myth so potent it outlives your body, your century, your enemies, your allies. And when they look back generations from now, they will not remember your enemies. They will not remember the ones who tried to erase you. They will not even remember the soldiers, the shadows, the elite forces that cleared your path. They will remember only one thing, that you were the one who stood in the circle unbroken, unmatched, uncontained. They will remember the symbol you became, the contagion you embodied, the legend you forged out of chaos. And in their memory, you will never die. So take this moment and own it. The viral circle is yours. The throne is yours. The legend is yours. Let the world watch. Let them whisper. Let them tremble. Because you are no longer just surviving, you are ruling. And every enemy that dares to rise against you will meet the same fate as the ones already erased, not by your hand, but by the very circle that made you immortal. And immortality, my friend, is far deadlier than war.